last lecture, we introduced a very important notion known as linear transformations between two vector spaces. Let us recall the definition. Let V and W be vector spaces over a field F. Then a transformation which converts V vectors to W vectors is called a linear transformation. It is a transformation, it is a linear transformation. Of course, it transforms V to W. So, it is a linear transformation from V to W. If what should it do? Since V and W both have vector space structures, both have addition and scalar multiplication, and we want this T to preserve the structure of addition and scalar multiplication. So, it is called a linear transformation if 1, it preserves addition. That means, T of x plus y must be equal to T of x plus T of y for every x y in V. Similarly, it should preserve scalar multiplication, that is T of alpha x must be equal to alpha T of x for every alpha in F and for every x in V. So, thus something is a linear transformation from V to W. First, if it is a transformation from V to W and if it preserves this algebraic structure of the vector spaces, namely the addition and scalar multiplication operations. Note that the addition on the left hand side of this definition refers to the addition in V, because we are adding V vectors, and the addition on the right hand side of this definition refers to the addition in W, because we are adding W vectors. Similarly, the scalar multiplication on the left hand side here refers to the scalar multiplication in V, and the scalar multiplication on the right hand side refers to the scalar multiplication in W. In particular, if V equal to W, then a linear transformation from V to V, that means it again a transformation from V into V, that is V vectors are encoded again as V vectors and it preserves the addition and scalar multiplication, then it is called a linear operator on V. It is called a linear operator on V. So, a linear operator on V is nothing but a linear transformation from V to V. Now, we will look at a very simple property of linear transformation before we see some examples. This is a property which is every linear transformation possesses. So, we have a linear transformation from V to W, we will write LT for linear transformation. So, we have a vector space V and a vector space W over a field F, and we have a linear transformation from V to W. Now, we have, because it is a linear transformation, T of alpha x is equal to alpha T of x for every alpha in F and for every x in V. This is because a linear transformation preserves scalar multiplication, and in particular if we take alpha to be 0, we get T of 0 times x is equal to 0 times T of x. Now, the left hand side, what we are doing is we are taking a vector x in V and we are multiplying it by the scalar 0, and so we will get the 0 vector in the V space. On the right hand side we are multiplying by 0 a W vector. So, we will get the 0 vector of the W space on the right hand side. So, we get T of theta V is equal to theta of W, which means that a linear transformation always maps the 0 vector into the 0 vector. So, thus any linear transformation from V to W maps the 0 vector theta V to the 0 vector theta W in W. This is a very important property. Every linear transformation must do it, and therefore, if some transformation from V to W does not take the 0 vector to the 0 vector, it cannot be a linear transformation. We shall look at some simple examples of linear transformations, some of which we have already seen. We will just recall them. The first example we see is the following. This is the example which motivated us to the definition of linear transformations. There are many ways of motivating linear transformations. We chose this example to motivate the definition of a linear transformation. What is this example? Let us take V, an n dimensional vector space over the field F. So, we have a n dimensional vector space over the field F, and let us choose a basis for V, an ordered basis for V. Any basis must contain n vectors because the dimension of the space is V. So, let B u1, u2, u3 etc. be an ordered basis for V. So, once we have an ordered basis for V, we knew that any vector x can be expressed as a linear combination of the basis vectors. So, x belongs to V implies x is equal to x1 u1 plus x2 u2 plus xn un. This led us to the identification of x to a vector xb, which we define as x1 x2 xn, which belongs to Fn. So, therefore, every vector x in V, starting from this, we can convert using the ordered basis B a vector x in B. Now, we consider this transformation. So, we define T, it comes out because of the basis B. So, we will call it as TB, TB a transformation from V to W, in this case is Fn. So, V to Fn defined as TB of x is xb. So, start from a vector x in V, construct the column vector, and that is in Fn, and that is a unique column vector because every vector x is a unique representation in terms of the basis. And we have already verified that this identification preserves addition and scalar multiplication. Already seen that this identification preserves plus and scalar multiplication. I will write Sm for scalar multiplication. So, this preserves addition and scalar multiplication, and therefore, it is a linear transform. The moment it preserves addition and scalar multiplication, it qualifies to be called as a linear transformation. That implies TB is a linear transformation from V to Fn. Therefore, the moment you start with an ordered basis B, it automatically generates a linear transformation from V to Fn. So, thus every ordered basis B for V induces a linear transformation T B from V to Fn. Therefore, there are infinite number of linear transformations from an n dimensional space to Fn, because we could choose any basis and any order of that basis, and every time we get an ordered basis we have a Tb corresponding to it. So, we already a lot of examples of linear transformation. The second example we will look at is a very important example from the point of view of the various questions that we raised in the beginning of the course about linear systems of equations. So, we take V to be the vector space Fn, where F is a field, and W to be the vector space Fm, where n and m are positive integers. Then let A be any fixed m by n matrix in Fmn. So, take any fixed m by n matrix over F, consider the vector space Fn and Fm. Now, define for every x in Fn Tax as follows. Simply pre-multiply the vector x by Ax. So, for every x in Fn we construct Ax and we call it Ta of x. This is a function which converts the vector x to the vector Ax, and this function is generated out of the matrix A. So, we call it T sub A. So, T sub A of x is A of x. Now, we know that A is an m by n matrix, x is an n by 1 matrix. So, the product will be an m by 1 matrix. So, it will belong to Fm. So, this belongs to Fm for every x in Fn. Therefore, this is a transformation which converts the Fn vector x to the Fm vector Ax. Thus, Ta maps Fn to Fm. Since we have a transformation between these two vector spaces, it is natural to ask whether it is a linear transformation. So, is Ta a linear transformation from Fn to Fm? Let us check this. In order to verify whether it is a linear transformation from Fn to Fm, we have to verify the two basic conditions, that whether Ta preserves addition, whether Ta preserves scalar multiplication. So, let us check addition. Suppose we have two vectors x y in Fn. Then by the definition of Ta, T sub A of x is Ax, that is how we define the transformation Ta. Ta of y is Ay. So, what the transformation does is just pre-multiplies the vector by the matrix A, and therefore, we get Ta of x plus Ta of y is Ax plus Ay. Now, on the right hand side we have the matrix A times the vector x plus the matrix A times the vector y, and we know that the matrix multiplication is distributive. So, we can write it as A of x plus y. Now, if we call the vector x plus y as z, where z is x plus y, then we get Az. Now, since x is in Fn, y is in Fn, z is also in Fn. So, the moment you take a vector z in Fn and pre-multiply it by A, that means we are taking Ta of z, which means we are taking a TA of x plus y. So, thus we see that TA of x plus y is the same of TA x plus TA y, and therefore, TA preserves addition. So, it crossed one hurdle for being qualified to be a linear transformation. The next addition. The next thing that we have to check is whether TA preserves scalar multiplication. So, we take a vector x in V, we take a scalar f, and then we look at TA of alpha x and ask whether it is equal to alpha t of x. If this is satisfied, then we will have that TA preserves scalar multiplication. Now, we have x belonging to V, alpha belongs to f. Now, since x belongs to V, by our definition of the transformation, TAX will be equal to AX, which means alpha TAX will be equal to alpha times AX. On the right hand side, we have the matrix A, the vector x and the scalar alpha. In matrix multiplication, the scalars can be moved in and out of the multiplication. So, this will be the same as A of alpha x. If we now call this as A of z, where now z is alpha x. Now, x is in Fn, therefore, alpha times x is in Fn. So, the z vector is in Fn. Now, the moment you take a vector in Fn, Az means we are taking Ta of z. Now, z is alpha x. So, that is equal to Ta of alpha x. So, thus we see that Ta of alpha x is equal to alpha times Ta of x, and hence Ta preserves scalar multiplication. Therefore, Ta preserves scalar multiplication. So, we have seen that Ta preserves addition, we have seen that Ta preserves scalar multiplication, hence these two together imply Ta is a linear transformation from Fn to Fn. So, we started with a matrix A, an m by n matrix A, and from that m by n matrix A, we generated a linear transformation Ta from Fn to Fm. So, thus every m by n matrix A belonging to Fmn induces a linear transformation Ta from Fn to Fm by the definition Tax equal to Ax for every x in Fn. So, every matrix gives rise to a linear transformation from Fn to Fm. In particular, if we take A to be an n by n matrix, now in this case m equal to n, then A induces a linear transformation T from Fn to Fn by the definition Ta x equal to Ax for every x in Fn. Now, since this is a linear transformation from the vector space Fn to itself, it becomes a linear operator, that is Ta is a linear operator on Fn. So, thus every n by n matrix induces a linear operator on Fn. So, thus every n by n matrix A in F n by n, all the entries are from the field F, induces a linear operator, we will write LO for linear operator on F n. How does it induce? As above, that is T A x is equal to A x. So, every m by n matrices induces a linear transformation from F n to F m. Every n by n matrix induces a linear transformation from F n to F n, and hence a linear operator on F n. For example, look at A equal to 1 0 1 0 1 1. Now, this is a 2 by 3 matrix. So, this is m equal to 2, n equal to 3. Therefore, this will induce a linear transformation from F 3 to F 2. Let us call this as T A mapping F 3 to F 2. How is it defined? It has to take a 3 component vector and it should map it to a 2 component vector. How do I get the 2 component vector? I have to take the matrix A and multiply it by the vector x, which is the same as A is 1 0 1 0 1 1 and the vector is x 1 x 2 x 3, and therefore, we get x 1 plus x 3 x 2 plus x 3. So, this matrix induces this transformation which takes the vector x 1 x 2 x 3, this is the matrix, the transformation T A, which takes it to x 1 plus x 3 x 2 plus x 3. Similarly, consider A now to be 1 2 0 3. Then this is a 2 by 2 matrix. So, it will have to generate a transformation which will be now a linear operator because m equal to n. So, it should be a linear operator from F 2 to F 2. And what should it do? T A of a vector x 1 x 2 must be again a vector in x 1 F 2. So, it has 2 components. How do I get it? I have to take the matrix A and multiply it by the vector x, which means 1 2 0 3 into x 1 x 2, which is x 1 plus x 2 plus 3 and 3 x 2. So, this transformation defined by this matrix takes the vector x 1 x 2 x 3. So, this is a 2 by 2 matrix. So, x 1 x 2 and maps it to the vector x 1 plus x 2 and 3 x 2. So, thus every m by n matrix gives us a linear transformation from F m to F n, F n to F m. Every n by n matrix gives us a linear transformation from F n to F n, and therefore, a linear operator on F n. So, the linear operators on F n, the large number of examples are the square matrices with n rows and n columns. So, this is a huge class of examples which will be interesting to us, because we are trying to solve a system of m equations in n unknowns through a matrix A, which boils down to looking at the linear transformation generated by the matrix A, that is the transformation T A. Now, let us look at another example, another class of examples. We will be looking at a lot of examples in the world of matrices, because that is our interest. All our questions that we have raised at the beginning of the course are essentially concerning matrices. So, now let us look at the vector space V to be the set of all n by n matrices over F. So, it is the vector space of all square matrices of size n by n over the field F. We already seen that this is a vector space with the usual matrix addition and scalar multiplication rules for matrices. Now, look at this vector space, fix a vector V here. What are vectors here? They are all matrices. So, fix a matrix A in Fn. So, once you fix a matrix A in Fnn, through this again we are going to generate a linear transformation on Fn cross n, which means we are going to generate a linear operator on V. How do we do this? So, we define for every x in V. What are the elements of V? They are all matrices. What type of matrices? N by n matrices, and the entries are all over the field F. So, V is Fn cross n here. For any matrix X, we convert it to another matrix n by n matrix. So, how do we do this? I will use a notation which will be useful to generalize. LA of x to be Ax. So, we are left multiplying any vector, any matrix X by the matrix A, and that is why we use the symbol L, that is means left multiplication by what? The matrix A. So, the transformation is denoted by LA, left multiplication by X. So, now we see that A is an n by n matrix because we have chosen A in Fn cross n, and X is an n by n matrix because we have chosen X is in V. So, both are n by n matrices. So, the product will be an n by n matrix, and therefore, this belongs to Fn cross n for every x in Fn cross n. And therefore, LA converts an n by n matrix into another matrix n by n matrix, and therefore, LA definitely is a transformation from Fn cross n to Fn cross 1. In other words, it encodes an n by n matrix by another n by n matrix. So, this A is the hashing operation or the encoding operation. By pre-multiplying the matrix X by A, we are hiding the original matrix A and disguising it as a new matrix LA of X. So, thus we have a linear at least we have a transformation from Fn to Fn. So, the moment you have a transformation between two vector spaces, we always ask whether it is a linear transformation. In particular, if we have a transformation from a vector space into itself, we ask whether it is a linear operator. So, is LA a linear operator on Fn cross n? Now, LA will get qualified to be called a linear operator on Fn cross n if it preserves the two base. Always the linearity comes from the two fundamental things, namely it preserves addition and it preserves scalar multiplication. So, let us verify whether LA does these two. So, if we have x and y in Fn cross n, these are the two vectors in the vector space, because we have chosen the vector space to be the vector space of all n by n matrices, and by our definition LA of x is left multiplication of x by A, LA of y is left multiplication of y by A, and that says LA of x plus LA of y is Ax plus Ay. Again matrix multiplication is distributive. So, it is Ax plus y, x is n by n, y is n by n, therefore, x plus y is n by n. So, whenever we take an n by n matrix and pre-multiply it by A, it boils down to taking LA of that post multiplier. Therefore, we have LA of x plus y is LAx plus LAy. So, that says LA preserves addition. The next thing that is required for LA to be qualified to be called as a linear operator is that it preserves scalar multiplication. So, let us look at a scalar and a vector. The vector space is n cross n. So, it is a matrix, a vector now is a matrix again. So, we have LA of x is equal to AX by definition, and therefore, alpha times LAX is equal to alpha times AX. Again in matrix multiplications, constants can be moved in and out. So, it is A alpha x. So, again when we take x is an n by n matrix and multiply it by a scalar, we get that alpha x is an n by n matrix, and whenever an n by n matrix is pre-multiplied by A, that means we are taking LA of alpha x, and thus we see that LA of alpha x is alpha LAX. Therefore, LA preserves scalar multiplication. Thus, LA preserves both addition and scalar multiplication. 1 and 2 together, LA is linear, and since it is a transformation from Fn to itself, it becomes a linear operator. So, LA is a linear operator on Fn cross. Thus, we started with a fixed matrix A and generated a linear transformation. So, thus every fixed A in Fn cross n, if you fix one A, you will get one transformation, induces a linear operator on Fn cross n as above. The linear operator is what we denote by LA. So, every A generates an LA as above. So, we can start with an n by n matrix and go on left multiplying by a fixed matrix, and then we go on getting newer n by n matrix, and that is a transformation, and that turns out to be a linear operator. Now, you can obviously guess, instead of left multiplication we could have also done right multiplication. So, we will write here as above by left multiplication. Left multiplication by A. Similarly, given A in Fn cross n, it generates or it induces a linear operator on Fn cross n, which we denote by RA, by the R stands for right multiplication, by right multiplication by A. So, we have RA x equal to XA for every x in Fn. By the same arguments as above, we can verify that this is also a linear operator. So, thus we have, starting from every fixed n by n matrix, we can generate a linear operator on the vector space of n by n matrices. Let us now do a little more on this example. In the first case, we took A and left multiplied it by A, and in the second case we took A and right multiplied it by A to get RA. We could have done both. We could have left multiplied as well as right multiplied, and we could have chosen one A to left multiply and one B to right multiply. So, that is what we will do now. So, let V equal to Fn cross n. For left multiplying you fix one matrix A, and for right multiplying you fix another matrix B. So, let A, B be fixed matrices in Fn cross n. Take any two fixed matrices in Fn cross n. Now, we are going to generate a transformation starting from these two matrices. So, we will call it as TAB. Okay. So, for any x in Fn cross n, define T A comma B of x to be, use A for pre-multiplying and B for post-multiplication. Now, we leave it as an x. First of all, you observe that everything is n by n matrix. So, the product is going to be an n by n matrix, and therefore, TAB of x is also an n by n matrix. So, this belongs to Fn cross n for every x in Fn cross n, and hence TAB is certainly a transformation from Fn cross n to Fn cross n. Now, we leave it as an exercise to verify. So, we will simply write it is easy to verify. The same arguments we have to carry on to verify that TAB is a linear operator on Fn cross n. We have to again verify that TAB of x plus y is TAB of x plus TAB of y, that is TAB preserves addition, and TAB of alpha x is alpha times TAB of x, that is TAB preserves scalar multiplication. So, we have now a handle on the left and a handle on the right, or a coding from the left and a coding from the right to change the matrix x to a newer matrix, an encoded matrix AXB. In particular, let P be a fixed n by n matrix in Fn cross n such that its inverse exists, P inverse exists. Suppose I start with an n by n matrix which is invertible, then we take A to be P inverse and B to be P in the above. So, if we can take A to be P inverse and B to be P, and what we get is a linear transformation, then we can define TAB. What is TAB now? TP inverse P. So, by short we denote this as just TP, because there is only one matrix involved and its inverse. So, we will call it as TP. How is TP defined? TP is the transformation from Fn cross n to Fn cross n, and it is defined as Tp of x is A, in this case is P inverse, x, B, in this case it is P, for every x in Fn cross n. Now, therefore, it converts the vector or the matrix x to a newer matrix P inverse x P, and since for any A and B this will generate a linear operator, in particular for this A and B it will generate a linear operator. Tp is a linear operator on Fn cross n. We will introduce a definition which will be useful later. So, let x be any n cross n matrix. We say a y belonging to Fn cross n is similar to x if there exists a P in Fn cross n, that is an n by n matrix, such that Tp of x is y. In other words, that y is a coded version of x in some code P. The code is generated by P because it covers the vector the matrix x as P inverse x P, and therefore, for the coding of the matrix x as T P x, we have used the matrix P. Therefore, we say y is similar to x if y is the coded version of x in some code P, in some code generated by some P. So, then we say x is similar to y or y is similar to we say we will look at these things later, but we will simply follow that y is similar to x if this happens. This is a very important notion which will come in handy in our later analysis, and therefore, any such T P is called a similarity transformation. We call such transformations, such linear operators T P on f n cross n as similarity transformation. Similarity transformation. We can generalize slightly these notions for rectangular matrices as well. So, let us look at the next class of example. These are the class of examples which will come into play in getting the answers to the various questions that we raised about matrices and linear systems of equations. So, let us now take the vector space V to be rectangular matrices, m by n matrices over F. Now, I want to pre-multiply or left multiply x in F m. So, I have to take an m by m matrix. So, let us take let Q be a fixed m by m matrix in F m cross m. Then for x in F m n, define L q of x. Again, L is left multiplication by what? Q x. This is perfectly okay because this is m by m, q is m by m and x is m by n. So, the product is going to be m by n. So, this belongs to f m by n for every x in f m by n. And therefore, this L q codes an m by n vector into another m by n vector, and that means L q is a transformation from f m cross n to f m cross n. Again, whenever we have a linear transformation from a vector space to itself, we want to know whether it is a linear operator. Is L q a linear operator on f m cross n? Along the same lines as we did for the square matrices, we can verify that L q preserves addition and scalar multiplication. So, it is easy as in the case of square matrices to verify that L A, L q preserves addition plus and scalar multiplication, and therefore, L q is a linear operator on f m cross n. So, any m by n matrix, so any m by m matrix q in f m cross n induces a linear operator on f m cross n by pre-multiplication by q. Now, if we want to post multiply, since we are dealing with m by n matrices, we have to take n by n matrices. Similarly, every n by n matrix, let us call it as P in f n cross n, induces a linear operator R P, R stands for right multiplication P, on f m cross n as post multiplication by P, that is R P of any x is x P for every x in f m cross n. And again you note that x is m by n, P is n by n. So, the product is going to be m by n, and therefore, it is going to belong to f m cross n. So, and therefore, it maps m cross n matrices to n cross. So, we have again left multiplication as well as right multiplication, but when we are dealing with rectangular matrices, we must be very careful as to the size that we choose for the left multiplication and the size of the matrix we choose for the right multiplication. Now, just as we did for square matrices, we can combine both left and right multiplications to as follows. So, given or fix any q in f m cross n and p in f n cross n. P and q are both square matrices. Q is size m, the row size of the space we are going to choose, and the p is of the column size in f n cross n. Then define T q p of x to be, you left multiply by q and right multiply by p for every x in f m n. Now, you see this is m by m, this is m by n, and this is n by n, and therefore, the product is going to be m by n, and therefore, it belongs to f m cross n for every x in f cross n. And therefore, it again quotes m by n matrices to m by n matrices. Hence, T A T q p is a linear transformation from m cross n to m cross n matrices, and since it is a mapping and linear on the same vector space, T q p is a linear operator. So, this T q p is a linear operator on f m cross n. Now, we will see later that the notion that we introduced here for square matrices, where we took P inverse x p, this sort of transformation which we called as similarity transformations, are useful in the question about diagonalization that we raised for square matrices in the first two lectures, and then this the later for the m by n matrices, the type of pre post multiplication transformations that we have done here will come in handy in the question of the so called singular value decomposition, which we shall be studying, and which is the generalization of the question of diagonalization in the case of from the square to the rectangular matrices. So, we have several classes of transformations that we can talk about for square matrices and for rectangular matrices. We shall continue to look at more examples because linear algebra, one of the most important things is linear transformation. So, we look at more simple examples. Let us consider the vector space of all polynomials over f in the variable x. Okay. So, f x stood for the vector space of all polynomials. Now, for any, what are the vectors in V? They are all polynomials. So, we will denote it by p. For any p in f x, so that is for any polynomial, define d of p to be dp by dx. That is the derivative, that is why we use the symbol capital D. So, the transformation that we are thinking of now is differentiation. So, take a polynomial p and just differentiate it, and we know that if we differentiate a polynomial, we will again get a polynomial, and therefore, this belongs to f x for every p in f x, and hence D is a transformation from f x to f x. The moment we have a transformation from a vector space to itself, natural question again, is D a linear operator on f x? And again, when does it qualify to be a linear operator? It has to preserve the two basic operations. So, let us check this. P and Q are in f x, means by definition d of p is dp dx and d of q is dq dx. That means d of p plus d of q is dp dx plus dq dx. But the derivative of a sum is the sum of the derivatives, and hence this is equal to d dx of p plus q. Now, p is a polynomial, q is a polynomial, and therefore, p plus q is a polynomial, and therefore, we are taking the derivative of a polynomial. The moment we take a derivative of polynomial, we mean d of that polynomial. So, this is equal to d of p plus q. So, thus we see that dp plus dq is dp plus q, and hence d preserves addition. And the next thing that we have to verify is whether d preserves scalar multiplication. So, if alpha is any scalar and p is any vector, vectors are now polynomials, we have d of alpha p, by definition this should be d dx of alpha p x, but we know the derivative of a constant time function, the constant can be pulled out. So, this will be alpha d dx of p, but d dx of p is just d of p, and therefore, we have d of alpha p is alpha dp, and hence d preserves scalar multiplication, and thus we have d preserves addition and scalar multiplication. It is a transformation from f x to f x. So, all these put together give that d is a linear operator on f x. So, thus the differentiation operator is a linear operator on the space of all polynomials. So, now we have one more example. We will extend this differentiation operators. Now, we take V to be f 4 x and W to be f 3 x. The space of all polynomials of degree less than or equal to 4 is V, less than or equal to 3 is W. Then we define T mapping V to W as T of P is the second derivative of P. Once again, derivative splits addition into separately and scalar multiplications are separated out. So, therefore, it is easy to see. Now, first of all, you see that if you take a polynomial of degree less than or equal to 4 and you differentiate it twice, it will be a polynomial of degree less than or equal to 2, and since W contains all polynomials of degree less than or equal to 3, all this will belong to W for every p in F4x. So, therefore, it will be a mapping from B to W. Now, it is easy to see that dP plus Q is Tp plus Tq for every Pq in F4x, and T of alpha p is alpha Tp for every alpha in F and for every p in F4x, and therefore, T is a linear transformation from F4x to F3x. We shall study more examples of linear transformations in the next lecture and continue studying the structure of linear transformation. It is the study of the structure of linear transformations which gives us the answer to all the questions that we have raised.